When I was a boy growing up in Indiana, one of the things I did was join the Boy Scouts for a very short period of time, mind you, but I did have a lot of fun. And many of you know that the Boy Scouts motto is be prepared, correct? What does it mean to be prepared? Well, it means to be ready to accept the duties and responsibilities in life with which we've been entrusted by God, by others, by ourselves, whatever the case might be. We need to know that we can actually perform, and we have to make plans to be able to accommodate these things. And if we don't, if they fall apart, we believe that we've failed or that life has failed us. What I want to convey here in this video today is that what we prepare for in life is often what we get. I'm not saying that you deserved whatever ill fortune fell upon you. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not saying that you did this to yourself. It goes deeper than just what might appear on the surface. Let me give you an illustration of this. Delia Ephron is an American writer and film producer. If you've ever seen You've Got Mail or Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, of which neither one of those I've seen, but many of you probably have. I'm not a big movie watcher, but those are hers. And she's 81 years old now. And there was something that she said that I thought was very thought-provoking. And here it is. She said, preparing for the worst is an activity I have taken up since I turned 35. And the worst actually began to happen. Isn't that something? You see, she lost her husband. She lost her sister, Nora Ephron. That's a name you might recognize. And she found she had leukemia. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, so the worst actually happened to her. That just shows you that being prepared actually probably made her better off. I mean, it was going to happen anyway, right? I don't think that's what she's trying to convey here. And I'm not even trying to say that she caused these things to happen. But our perception of the way things in life unfold are dramatically affected by how we think of them and how we prepare. See, I think that a lot of us, and I think probably in the majority of adults, we've lost the ability to prepare for the best. You might say, well, what does that have to do with anything? That wouldn't have stopped her husband or her sister dying. That wouldn't have kept her from having leukemia. I mean, don't get me wrong, Delia has a good story. She has a good outcome to all of this, but okay, let's go with this. It wouldn't have stopped any of that. But here's what happens when we don't prepare for the best. And that is, when the good things come along, oftentimes we can't appreciate them in their fullness. And in many cases, we don't even recognize them. We're so busy being suspicious and reading into why this wonderful thing might be occurring. Certainly couldn't be for us. When's the other shoe going to drop? And this is where it becomes dangerous and life becomes very unhappy. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want it to happen to me. But it does happen in many cases. You can go anywhere and within a stone's throw find yourself surrounded by miserable people. This is not hard to figure out. It's not a mystery. And I think that's because our expectations are so low going into adulthood, or maybe well into adulthood, becomes so low that we no longer prepare for what the good that could occur. We only prepare for the worst. And I'm not saying there's not any wisdom in that. I'm just saying that we set ourselves up. If we have a mindset that only the worst could happen, then I think we are creating a universe in our mind in which we are only going to accept that very thing. We need to be able to start recognizing the positive things that take place, that unfold in our lives, and be able to enjoy them for all they're worth. because we prepared for them. We can actually believe that we deserve them because we've made the mental preparations. We've made our table. That's what you have to do. I like this other quote here. It's anonymous, so it's not attributed to anyone necessarily, but it says, if you prepare for old age comes sooner. I do believe this firmly. I feel much younger than I am. I attribute that to, I feel like I'm a boy in my mind. I've just stayed that way my entire life. I'm not saying I'm immature. That's up to your own opinion, but I think of myself as a boy. I think, if not a boy, I think of myself in my 20s. And I feel like that has kept me younger because I feel like my threshold is much higher than when I see in my peers who are of the same age or older. Their threshold is so much lower. They're anticipating for all the horrible things that happen to them, and they do. And I'm not saying they couldn't happen to me, but I will think about them differently. And I will say, in the end, I had a good run. You know, I'll be able to look back at the scope of my life and be able to pinpoint all the positive things that did happen because I was preparing for the best. I'm not saying I've always done that, but it's a learned skill. Okay? The world is competing for your mind and for your feelings. It wants your outrage. It wants your negativity. It wants you not believing in yourself. That's how the system works, and you've got to stop being a part of that. You've got to kick against the pricks. You've got to fight it. And you do that by preparing for the very best. Do you believe that your financial situation could change? Let me tell you something. When you're in your 20s, it feels very grim, doesn't it? If you're in your 20s right now, maybe in your early 30s, you're looking at your economic situation and you're feeling like, I don't have a chance. We all felt that way. But economic statistics prove that things do get better as you get older, generally, for the most part. Okay? So these things do change. But if you're not prepared for that, if you're not believing that that could occur, you won't even recognize it when it happens. There are people, there's a lot of psychologists that believe that we actually make ourselves sick by being afraid of the very things that could possibly happen to us. I'm inclined to go along with that. I'm not saying that we can beat it just by thought, but we can stage our own minds and our own bodies to give it the best fighting chance you've got. And at the very least, be able to recognize all the good in life that there is to be had when it comes down. And I think it'll make a big difference. Don't give in to the system. Take control. Exercise agency. This is one of the best things you can do. Think about these things. Ponder on them. And start preparing for the best. I hope that's helped. All right, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. In the meantime, be wise.